Okay, I thought it'd be a good time to do a bathroom update. We haven't moved on it because it's been cold and I didn't want to tear this floor out in the cold. But we've pulled the toilet out. We'll talk about that in a second. So we're removing the bottom half of this wall all the way around because I know there's been mold issues. And we got some rot in there, which we can't really do anything about. But there's definitely some mold going on in here. So we're going to replace all this and redo that. We originally were going to replace this floor and tear it out. You can see it's just shy of 2 inches with these layers. This layer here is at the level of the original floor, wood floor behind that door, which is the rest of the house. That's level with that. And then there's is a 5/8 inch plywood on top of that. And herein lies the problem. My thinking, ideally, yes, pull all this out so I can put a new plywood layer here over this floor, replace maybe some of this that's rotten, but most of this looks pretty strong enough when you're gonna, like, it's 3/4 thick. None of it's spongy or weak. So I was just gonna throw a new moisture barrier between the two, throw plywood over the top of it, be plenty strong. But, and I don't like to show you what we're dealing with here. It's an old house. There's been a lot of fixes, so somebody else in the past had cut away this original floor here and left the tub sitting on that layer. So even though the tub looks like it's sitting on this layer here, it's kind of not, because it's actually just sitting on the floor back here. So all that can come out and this will float, and we'll just slip the new piece underneath and caulk it, or do tile or whatever we're going to do on top of that layer, which would have been perfect for a tile layer. However, get over here to our toilet, knowing we have to take 2 inches out of this pipe. It drops to an immediate curve and goes over and then goes down. There's no getting 2 inches out of that. So this layer would have to be rebuilt. The whole floor would have to be rebuilt back up to that layer. And I don't want to do that since there's nothing wrong with this layer per se. It's ugly. We're going to cover it with a laminate flooring anyway. And the reason we're here is because underneath the house, we're not able to lift this section. The beam that's under this wall right here. Okay, there's a main beam that runs all the way under there. It can't be lifted. This floor in here is also not really unlevel. It's a little bit, but not too bad. Nowhere near as bad as the rest of the house. So on the other side of this wall is the hallway. And in the hallway, the floor tips sideways like that. So we've got under here and we've jacked this beam up. Jack it. Put 20 tons of pressure lifting the thing up. Lifted up this much. Now, not because it's heavy, but because the clay just compresses underneath it. And so once the soil and everything got compressed, that's as high as we could lift it with the current jacks I have. Everything's dried out now, so maybe I could go under there and try again, but there's problems. There's really only about 16 inches of clearance between the floor joists and the ground. So 10-ton bottle jack stands about 8 inches tall. And that's what I have. So there's really no way of replacing that beam unless it goes with steel. Steel's very heavy. So if I got a I-beam, a 4 or 6 inch I-beam, run 10, 12 foot, whatever, it'd weigh a couple 100 pounds, and just trying to hoist that by myself in a crawl space that's only 16 inches wide, tall, it's just not feasible. Plus, and I've looked, nobody around here can get me that. There's a metal store right next door, and they're like, yeah, I don't think we can get that. So, I mean, it's Arkansas, so options are limited. So we thought about doing a laminated wood beam, making a laminated beam, but that would have to be at least 12 inches thick. And there's just not enough space to do it. That was the thinking for fixing this floor and the drain line. Remember the drain line from this toilet to where it patches into all of the, well, it's actually new stuff, but the sewer line. This section is old stuff. This is a big old cast iron section, and then it connects into PVC. Why they didn't replace this at the same time they did all the new PVC boggles my mind. I guess they didn't want to deal with all the joints because there are 2 toilets and a bathtub and the washer and dryer and the vent, main vent for the system, all connected in that section. So they just didn't want to mess with all that. And it's slightly tipped the wrong way. At the base of this toilet is the low point, which is not ideal. However, what we thought was going on underneath there through the winter with this holding water and leaking is not actually happening. Now that we've got all the moisture dried out from underneath, all the drainage problems solved, we've run laundry, we've run bath water, we've run toilets, and there's no leak in this drain system. So, as it is, I'm accepting that with a slight tip because it is nearly impossible, and they probably actually pushed that down to get this toilet in here because this has been raised 2 inches. 2 inches is about the difference from that drain line from there to there, where that's 2 inches lower. So I would have to raise this floor by something like 4 inches to keep this current system. Or go down there and replumb. I don't know, I haven't looked at it with this in mind, but I would have like a little bend like that to bring this pipe over to here down low, so this could be straight coming up. So this can be the depth that I needed. I don't think there's enough room down there to get that bend and get that pipe, which is going in here. So for this toilet to exist, this is why we're here. So what we've decided is to plan on at some point in the future budgeting to where we can actually hire an engineer to come out here, run steel girders underneath this whole half of the house, remove all the stonework because it would, I mean, it's not great anyway, but it would not survive it, and lift the entire house back up to level and then just redo everything at that point to fit. We're not there. We don't have the money for that right now. It would completely wipe us out, and we need what we have for, the foreseeable future for other things. So what we are going to do, instead of tile, instead of doing things nice, instead of ripping this bathtub out and redoing everything, we're making it work. We are keeping that level now because that's a nightmare to mess with, and it's going to be temporary anyway. Right now, there's nothing wrong with it. It doesn't leak. It's not causing a problem. It's stupid, but it's functional. So we're leaving it. This is stupid, but it's functional. If I take one of these layers out, I have to deal with that, which means redoing all this plumbing. And I don't want to do that ever until the whole house is leveled, So we're keeping this level. We're going to match this floor up to this level, which I don't really want to do because it puts this floor about 1/2 inch above the hallway. So that's not ideal. And we'll probably just do a cheap laminate over the top of this for now, since it's all going to be temporary. Something waterproof it all, and call it a day. Get the mold out, re-drywall, cabinet, paint job. The tub's actually not too bad. We cleaned it up really nice. It's actually decent. Tile's not great, but the tile can be done later. And then put this door back in, and that's where we're at. So there is your bathroom update. This is what I'm doing today, and for the rest of my life.